just the uncertainty of what's going on. It's all go and then it's all off again.
The whales are putting on a show during their migration off the Gold Coast. Tourists on Anthony Ardern's boat are in the box seat.
And oh look, right here, right next to us. So here's the whales popping up, nice round-out dive there.
The start of the COVID-19 pandemic hit Anthony's business hard, but by June, interstate tourists were starting to come back. That all changed in early August when Queensland slammed its border shut for the second time.
So we're carrying around about 600 people per day. That's now dropped back down to around about 100 per day. Pre-COVID, we're actually doing around about 1,200 customers per day.
It is relentless. It is intimidating, but I will not be intimidated.
Queensland Premier Anastasia Palaszczuk has been under sustained pressure from the federal and New South Wales governments to change her tough border stance. In the latest development, National Cabinet, including Queensland, has agreed to look at reopening borders by Christmas. But there are serious differences on what a definition of a hotspot should be.
I think she's still got the confidence of the electorate, but at some point the Queensland electorate's going to get its back up. So the Queensland electorate does not want to go into 2021 with continued lockdowns.
Queensland has the country's highest unemployment rate at 8.8%, but there are fewer than 30 active COVID cases. The looming state election at the end of October will test the popularity of border closures at the ballot box.
It can really cut either way at this stage. It is an enormous risk.
I think it's a really smart decision. I mean, the last thing we need is people rushing up here to try and get away from Victoria.
The Sunshine State's success in controlling coronavirus is a major reason it's lured this year's AFL Grand Final away from Melbourne.
Thanks, Miles.
It's good news for Damien Masters, who runs this pub next to the Gabba Stadium.
Pretty hard to compensate for 3 months of zero revenue, but it's certainly going to help.
The Grand Final will host 30,000 fans at a time the border remains shut, raising questions about whether the Queensland government's COVID-safe message is consistent.
The borders are closed so that we can have 30,000 people at the game. You know, I think if we open the borders, it puts having the AFL Grand Final and having a near full Gabba puts that massively at risk.
You know, having 30,000 plus people is a big ask to maintain those basic things we need to do to minimise the risk of COVID spreading from person to person.
Peter Collignon, a professor of infectious diseases at the ANU's medical school, is critical of Queensland's approach. In particular, he disagrees with the health advice, which requires no community transmission for a month before borders reopen.
I actually think that's a hard ask, almost an impossible ask, and I think it's not reasonable. I think what is reasonable is high levels of people, or areas where there's high levels of transmission should not be able to go to low levels of transmission. So Melbourne going to Queensland would be unreasonable at the moment. But when you've got really low levels, such as New South Wales, and particularly northern New South Wales, to not be able to go into Queensland or the ACT, I don't think that really makes biological sense.
Western Australia's Premier Mark McGowan is going it alone, refusing to sign up to the goal of reopening by Christmas.
All I'm trying to do is protect our state, save people's lives and save our jobs and keep us on the pathway we're on. I think I'm on the right track.
The Premier's position is popular at Fremantle markets, even amongst vendors who are suffering.
I don't vote Labor, but I'd vote that guy in, to be honest with you. I like what he's doing, but a little bit less money is better than being dead, I think.
As a person that lives in Western Australia, I think we're very lucky, but there is that conflict that, as a business person, I could do with the borders open.
Hey folks, how's it going today?
Back on the Gold Coast, tourism operator Anthony Ardern is hoping borders will reopen by Christmas. When they do, he wants the hotspot definition relaxed.
start doing COVID hotspots for specific suburbs, not for the whole state. If we see that Sydney's actually performing really well and there's places in Western Sydney that do have outbreaks, why not look at actually closing off those places which have the outbreaks, but allow everyone else to actually still travel.
Hi, I'm Lee Sales. Thanks for watching this story. If you'd like to watch more of 730's stories, they are on the left of your screen. And tap on the button below to subscribe and get the latest from ABC News.